Hello everyone, this is J.R. Fox and you're watching 5 hints to vamp up your game as an artist in 2021 English edition. If you'd like to check out the original Japanese version of this video, check it out. It's good. The link is down below. Anyways, I'm joined here today by my guest host, Death, who is literally here for no other reason than to remind you that it is never too late to follow your dreams and do what you're passionate about, starting now. Just kidding. Start maybe after the video. Alright, so go ahead and grab whatever your preferred method of hydration may be. Today, I'm rocking some, this is Pocari sports drink in a Topo Chico bottle. Anyways, without further ado, let's start talking about painting. Together, with today's discussion, I want to share with you a time-lapse of a painting I completed recently. This piece is known as Pursuing the Wind, and it was inspired by an Emily Dickinson poem. If you'd like to see it in greater detail, you can click on the link down below to my website or Instagram. It's an oil painting on a collage that comes from a bunch of different books in different languages that has been primed with clear gesso. Alright, now it's time for 5 hints for becoming a better artist in 2021. The first hint is hugely important, and I'm going to say this a bunch of times on this channel. The most important thing that you can do as an artist is love painting more than anybody in the world, more than anybody else. The reason why is this. It's an essential fuel that will motivate the rest of your art education and art career. People who love painting almost always get better at it without having to force themselves to do so. And that's because when you love painting, the things you learn while you paint are going to last a lot longer in your memory, because the things that you discover on your own from solving problems that you encounter while you're painting is so much closer linked with your memory. It's just going to last a lot longer. Rather than taking a class and having someone teach you, which that's also important and good to do, cultivate an interest in and start from a love for painting. I think I first fell in love with painting when I was like 8 years old. One of my older brother's friends painted something, and like when I saw it, it blew my mind completely beyond the space-time continuum. My interest was caught, and it really got me thinking, now how can I paint like that? How can I draw like that, right? At first it was rough. And by rough, I mean it was mostly rough for the people who I showed my art to, who had to muster up some words of encouragement and say things like, oh, that's a good art there, buddy. And whether or not they actually meant it or not, it got my confidence going, and that was good. And I was thinking, I gotta learn more. I wanna get better. So I started looking into more ways and more tools for painting and drawing, and got some art books and learned about various different artists and tried doing things I hadn't really tried before. And before I realized it, I was in the midst of my art education, and I hadn't really even taken any classes yet or gotten any instruction besides the stuff I was getting at preschool and elementary school. So, crayons. I was a step above crayons. Anyways, this leads us to our next hint, tip thing of the day, which is this. Do master studies. While you are learning how to be an artist and improve in your art, explore different mediums, techniques, and subject matters by copying the work of the artists you love. As long as you're not like, oh yes, this is my original idea and work and I'm just amazing. And as long as you're not like trying to sell it, you have pretty much nothing to worry about. When I made the decision to quit my job as a high school teacher and just focus on my art and my business, I did a master study of A Girl with a Pearl Earring by Johannes Vermeer, and it was a great experience. The biggest takeaway I got out of it was that it showed me with greater clarity what I liked about painting and what I didn't like, as well as it helped me to narrow in on like a subject matter that I liked and identify the kind of stuff I didn't want to paint. So if you want to be like, let's say, a digital artist and you're a fan of a, really specific artist out there, maybe they like do splash or concept art for a video game, start by drawing some of their drawings and try to imitate some of the stuff that they do and see if you can learn from their process. Not only will it help you to learn a lot about them, but you'll also learn a lot about yourself. And that might actually be more important. Now, the third tip of the day is less philosophical and more practical. Before you go about creating your next masterpiece, you really ought to imagine what the final finished piece is going to look like. It's a little hard, but it's super important because a lot of people start painting without a care in the world. It's like, and after about 20 minutes they say, oh, this is so stupid. And then they give up and they burn their canvas and crumple up their paper and then do a pagan death ritual with like a crazy skull that they bought on the internet. And then they quit. One common reason why this happens for a lot of people is because they don't know what they want to paint. And that's why it can be helpful to start up by picking a motif. Decide what you want to paint. You don't necessarily have to get down to all the nitty-gritty details, but it's really important to have a direction. In my career, I found my most successful pieces, the ones I could complete in a reasonable amount of time and make, reasonable profit from, were always the ones I had a clear goal for. Without a goal, you can be like a car on the road with no destination. You're just driving around without really getting anywhere. You run out of gas, you get lost somewhere on the road, and then that crazy guy with the axe shows up and he cuts off your arm. Just kidding. However, like with the navigation app, if you have like at least some idea of where you want to go and can plot that in your head, it makes the painting process go 10 times quicker, and overall your workflow is going to be a lot more efficient. So, to help out, I think it's perfectly fine to sort of hash out your ideas on, an app or some piece of software where you can create drafts of maybe, what your final piece of work might be. Anyways, this has always helped me to better narrow in on my idea. And yeah, what you can do with software in 5 minutes, it might help you out to get to your final piece a lot quicker than if you spent 5 hours trying to draw a draft all in graphite first. That's fine if you want to do that too. Either way, yeah, having that idea, that direction that you want your art to head into, it's gonna make you more efficient. Don't forget it. The fourth tip I have is to create an environment that supports your painting. In other words, this means getting rid of the stuff that gets in your way and make a situation for yourself where you can whip out paintings like Buddha. Some people feel like this kind of thing isn't all that related to being a good painter or, being good at using a brush or something like that, but it will. And the reason why is, it particularly helps distracted artists like me be more effective. I have an analogy for you. I want you to imagine the ideal soccer player. He or she is super fit, works well on a team, quick on their feet, and has a killer kick. And no one else in their town has nearly the sort of coordination and strength that they have. However, in this town, right, there's no pitch, no field, no ground, no nothing. It's outer space. Just kidding, it's not outer space. But, maybe in this town you can't even get a soccer ball unless you travel for a week to the next town over. Now imagine, regardless of how talented that person may be and how strong that they may be, it's kind of hard to imagine them becoming a World Cup star without performing some crazy heroics, right? In the same way, if you don't have an environment that's really suited for painting, you're gonna have to rely on some crazy heroics to really get your career going. But we don't want that situation. You don't need heroics to become a good painter if you can create a good environment for yourself that is suited for painting. For me, this is it. I have my paints and my brushes all set out, ready to go. I try to keep it clean. My easel's right here, kind of off screen. And yeah, I can just come in every morning and start painting. And I've eliminated a lot of the things that used to distract me and prevent me from from starting. So environment is hugely important for success in painting. Anyways, so first off, set aside a space where you can paint. Then get only what is necessary for painting. Clean up or clear out distractions. Prepare the essential tools for painting. There's no need to go out and buy the most expensive, high quality materials when you're starting out. Even for experienced artists, most mid-tier supplies get the job done and at a reasonable price. I'll go over supplies more in another video, so check that out in the description or in the link. Moreover, it's a good idea to set aside painting time. And if you feel kind of pressed for time, it's probably because you're losing a lot of time to your phone or some other obligation. Let's talk about the phone though. I'm only saying that because that's a problem for me too, or it has been in the past. And if you want to know a crazy trick for getting a lot of time, try deleting your favorite apps, all of them. Like, don't even be like slightly kind for one, like, oh, I might use this one time this week. No, there's like, if you're not like 90% like sure you need it, just like take it off and try it for just a week and paint your heart out. You'll be blown away by how much that saves you time. To be honest, you'll probably be less stressed too. From there, I'd say the last thing that helps out with the environment thing is incorporating people and influences in your life who share the same goals you have or are at least heading in a similar direction. In other words, it's gonna be good to meet other aspiring artists or already successful artists and try to build off of each other's momentum. If you can't meet directly, try meeting online. Surround yourself with, the kind of media that keeps you motivated. For me, it's watching my favorite YouTube painters and, watching painting documentaries. I like watching them as well as listening to art and business related podcasts. It really makes a huge difference for me and my art business, and I really think it can help you too. All right. Now, our fifth and final tip is kind of similar to the environment discussion that we just had, but has a little more of a mental edge to it. Basically, the kind of person we become is hugely influenced by the words we say and the thoughts we keep in our minds. People are most influenced by their own words. So, if when you look at your art and have a negative reaction and hold on to those thoughts like, oh, this sucks, I hate it, it's horrible, that's going to turn into a huge mental block for you. The good news though is that it's fixable and you can fix it starting today. What you gotta do is this. First, without judging with two-sided, this is good or this is bad kind of statements, you keep moving forward by making a mental effort to replace the negative statements with more direction-providing words and statements that will allow you to improve your work. And let's kind of dive into what I mean by that. You'll notice that thinking like, oh, this is stupid, that it's not helpful. So you replace those kinds of thoughts and statements with things like, which aspect of this piece is not in line with my vision? And how can I adjust it so that it gets closer with my goal and what I want to do in this work of art? Out of all the artists I've met so far in my life, the ones who I felt had the best work and who I respected the most were also super kind, positive, gave useful feedback that always felt kind of positive even if it was a criticism. And it gave me, this really authentic impression. So first of all, make an effort to notice where your thoughts and feelings are like right now about your art, right? And they can be anywhere, just notice, right? You can then make the mental effort to replace the ones that are negating yourself with words and statements that would affirm and, help motivate positive action. So every time you think this painting is crap, think instead, what can I change about this piece to make it my masterpiece? From there, you can make a plan and act on it and actually really improve as an artist. Anyways, that's all I got today. How are we all doing? Did today's topic make you want to start painting? I sure hope so. let's snag the takeaways for today, shall we? First of all, and I'm gonna go in reverse order, make sure your mental and physical environment is such that you can paint with as few impediments as possible. After that, make an image or goal for what you want to paint before you dive in. It will save you a lot of money and time on paint and materials too. After that, try to learn as much as you can from the artists you love by doing a master study of one of their works. Finally, as much as possible, stay in love with painting for the love of painting. Yup, that's it. All right, I want to give a shout out to my wonderful partner Yuki, who has supported my work since day one. Without her support, I couldn't be the artist that I am today. And if you'd like to get a shout out here on one of these videos as well, then please swing by my Patreon page down below, where you can also get access to coupons on prints and original art on my Etsy page, as well as other merchandise. Members of the top Skulk tier for more than 2 consecutive months will receive a print of their choosing. You can even request a print of the painting that was featured in this video. Anyways, the link for all of that is down below. Yeah, so let me know, out of all 5 of the hints that I shared with you today, which one helped you out the most? Don't forget to let me know in the comments, guys. I really appreciate it. And of course, if you found this video insightful, helpful, you know, a likety-like and a subscribe would be most appreciated. Thanks again for watching, and never quit painting. We'll see you next time.